project, maybe there was a feeling of mistrust, of preconceived ideas of what systems were doing or what these particular players' motivations were, or all those kinds of things. And being able to come together and come to this table was difficult. There was difficult conversations that had to happen, and a lot of challenges that occurred. But when they were able to happen, shifts were able to be made. I think if we could have framed it maybe and made it okay to have the conflict, because I think in many ways people did kind of come to it, didn't feel that they could openly articulate that they were there to protect their own interest necessarily, that was kind of, I don't want to say that was the motivation, but that in many ways that was one of the considerations as they participated.
I would say some of the major challenges we've come across has been struggling with some of the power differential, particularly in our location with the court system.
So we didn't think about some of the things like imbalance of power between the bureaucratic systems and the community-based programs, like the domestic violence programs.
The court is always going to be the court, whether you're standing in front of them or sitting at a meeting. When you go into it, realize that there's going to be an imbalance of power.
The judges are there, and they can't leave the fact that there are judges behind. But then I thought, when I sat on anything, I was an advocate, and I didn't leave that behind. And it was just funny that I was judging them by a different standard. Somehow because they were judges, they were supposed to be able to not be a judge when they were there. But I'm an advocate, so I have to be an advocate.
I think for communities that have some kind of a DB consortium or even a looser group, doesn't have to be that formalized, but it would be good for us to organize ourselves and define our own communities before we go to the table, perhaps to have them defined by somebody else.
In San Francisco, I think we needed to do more internal work earlier on. We're starting to do some of that now at the very end, but I think that would have helped how we move forward with the other systems.
We also didn't really think about that we would be putting the advocates in kind of a tough position in terms of that they would constantly be reacting to what the systems wanted to do.
I guess one of the things, at least in St. Louis County, is that somebody that is committed to this issue or this kind of project where you're trying to bring systems that are used to operating completely differently together have to be prepared to be sort of at odds with not only the court system, but with Children's Division, or the CPS, and with your own advocates that you work with in the community. Because to move it forward, you kind of have to be a person that can somewhat transcend all of those systems and take it in, but move it forward.